Barcelona threw 2-1 on aggregate, but after a goalless first leg in Catalonia, Janusz, when Galatasaray opened the scoring, there were some nervy moments for Barca, but I was impressed at how composed they were to turn the tie around.
Absolutely. I mean, it was never going to be easy, right, Mark? You and I, how many times have we talked about going to Turkey, how difficult of a place that is? But Barcelona has proved that although it's difficult, they don't get it done very often. And this was the case as well. And it was, down to a little bit of luck early, I think, because if you remember, Gomis had a couple of chances. But I think, this is Barcelona team that's showing character, showing that this project is growing. It's certainly not there yet, but I think, the turnaround for Xavi has been for all of us to see.
They went that goal down, and you wondered how they were going to react. And I think what we saw from Barca today, they didn't panic. There was a lot of composure. And I don't know if we can mention another player ahead of Pedri when it comes to composure, because it wasn't just the goal, which was sumptuous, but an all-round performance. It's like he's been playing the game for 20 years.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, we all know about his handling or mishandling of Pedri. Otherwise, we've seen moments like this just about every week, right? Remember last season and the injury that began this one. Combine that with all the uncertainty of Barcelona, right? But, they've turned it around. Xavi came in, admitted how difficult the job was at first, but you can clearly see not just character, but quality. Slowly but surely, this team is being put together. We all know that the January window, I think surprisingly for all of us, given their financial situation, has been good. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, my goodness. How is that happening, by the way? What is it, 7 goals in 7 games now for him. So, he's been a big surprise. But when it comes to Pedri, the talent is there for everyone to see. It's quite frankly sensational for me. And I don't mean to, dramatize the situation, because he's an incredible talent. And the equal, the goal he scored, just absolutely brilliant.
The goal that put Barcelona ahead at twice before they scored, you thought, well, they're going to score here. And then you thought Galatasaray are going to survive this. I was very impressed by Frenkie de Jong's awareness. And Aubameyang, you mentioned him as well. I think the secret here is to keep him happy, because when he goes in the huff, like we saw at Arsenal, he's no use to anybody. But I think he's been desperate for this move for a while. And I think we're seeing him thrive now that he's got his move.
Yes, and this game was in transition, which is positive for him and for quite a few players, I suppose. But also there's some negativity because Frenkie de Jong was very good, but I think we have to admit that Barcelona were very sloppy in their passing. They allowed the game to be played in transition, which is not something that they want to do. They want to control the ball, and we saw that immediately. Right, the goal they scored, the go-ahead goal that they scored, 2-3 minutes into the second half, started what we normally know. When I say normally, Barcelona at their best, right? I mean, absolute possession where Galatasaray couldn't even get a sniff of the ball. And that's important because it was just, they just took the air out of Galatasaray. Yes, there was some, maybe half chances or hope towards the end, but, those are the glimpses of Barcelona of all. And for as long as you have that, right, it's good. Now, going back to Frenkie de Jong in that midfield, look, I mean, Real Madrid is looming large on Sunday, right? And I thought that midfield did not have control. I don't want to say for long periods of time, but at least in that first half. And of course, you're going to face here Casemiro, Modric, Toni Kroos, or Fede Valverde, who was absolutely outstanding in the absence of Casemiro against Paris Saint-Germain, right? So, I mean, that midfield, when you just think of those four, it's going to be a lot. And let's face it, Real Madrid played on Monday. I think that Barcelona expended energy here for sure, even though, they've held on to the ball. But I think this was a tough, physical, in transition type of game. So, look, I mean, it was never going to be easy in the Clasico, but this game is probably fell in on the wrong day, right? But who would have thought Barcelona is going to be playing on Thursdays?
Well, I mean, it's a competition that they haven't won since it was the Intercities Fairs Cup in the 50s and 60s. Now, looking ahead to El Clasico on Sunday, we don't know. It's too early. The game has just finished. Serginho Dest had to go off. And not only for Barcelona against Real Madrid, this is the same day that the US men's national team is going to announce its roster for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers that include Mexico. So without kind of second guessing how serious the injury is, if he's unavailable for club and country, how big a blow is that?
Well, for Real Madrid ahead of this game, right? I mean, for sure. Dani Alves, of course, may be the choice, right? I mean, he's inactive, but he hasn't been registered for Europa League. So, he's almost 39 years old, still 38, but almost 39. And everybody saw it immediately on Twitter when the reaction happened, or on social media, well, against Vini Jr. And yes, on surface, when you look at that, you say to yourself, my goodness, it's going to be difficult. But you know what? If it is him, which we don't know, because it may be Araujo again, we saw the substitution. Could be Mingueza. I don't think so. I mean, we could see three in the back, although I don't think that Barca has true wingers, right? When you look at Traore, remember the Wolves, they tried him, not, Dembele doesn't strike you as a player like that either, right? So if it's Dani Alves, be careful. It seems Vini Jr. should have his way, but sometimes an experienced player like that has won everything there is to be won in the world, right? For that one game, may just say, hold on, you young whippersnapper, hold your horses. So let's see. I mean, it's not going to be easy for sure, because Vini Jr. has been in a sensational form. But, for Serginho Dest in the United States, I mean, it's a big blow because it's an important player. U.S. has not qualified just yet, right? Big game away to Mexico. Even bigger one against Panama, because if you win that, you're in. But, Weston McKennie, not going to be there, right? Serginho Dest, two significant players from two massive clubs in Juventus and Barcelona. Psychologically, it plays a big role for 3 matches, because let's not forget, there are 3 games here in the cycle. But, there's DeAndre Yedlin. I suppose we don't know who's going to be there, Reggie Cannon. I mean, there are options there, but I just think that going into the decisive 3 games that decide if you're going to be in the World Cup, you surely don't want to be missing 2 of the biggest, of the 3-4 biggest names out there, for footballing reasons, but also the camaraderie and, what they mean to the team as well. And it's just kind of, that presence of those 2 players that makes everybody around better.
Let's end with the Europa League and looking forward. There's some big names left in the draw. We're at the last 8 stages. There's 1 or 2 surprises as well. Would it be a surprise if Barcelona don't go on and win this competition now?
No, I think for me they're favorites, and we wouldn't have said that even a couple months ago, right? I mean, for all we knew, I mean, this rebuild was going to take forever. I mean, before Xavi came in, it was doom and gloom. That's for sure. Financially as well. Financially, things are changing a little bit with renaming of their stadium as well. I don't know how far that's going to help immediately, but I think it's going to help some. Look, I mean, it's a very, very important competition for Barcelona. Maybe they didn't think at first, but, look where they are. They are, in 3rd spot, but I think level with Atletico Madrid, if memory serves right, with a game in hand. You don't know where that's going to go. So you'd like to have options. And the option is to win Europa League, and then don't worry about what happens in La Liga in a way. So I think if you look at Barcelona, ahead of this weekend, it's massive. Clásicos always are, because it can give you a massive momentum. I think that Barcelona will be relatively happy with a draw in that game as well, right? And perhaps concentrate on Europa League and make sure that they continue to grow as a team, because they are grown. There's no questions about that. Xavi has made a massive difference, and you can tell that there is a belief in this team. There's happiness in this team that's been missing for a long time now.
After a first leg in which they drew 0-0 in Catalonia, they made life a little bit harder for themselves.
And just to finish, 2 massive away wins, Napoli
Indeed.
and here in Galatasaray as well. That's important.
Exactly. So they got the job done, although they did make it slightly harder for themselves than they could have done. Barca march on to the quarterfinals.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.